We are on this part here of this persuasion book, trying to figure out the upcoming elections, and on the part talking about the after election danger. After the election results came in, people expected me to gloat. So this is on page 54 of our Win Bigly book by Scott Adams. So after the election results came in, people expected me to gloat. You could say I earned it. A little bit of view there. I had just pulled off the upset prediction of the century while enduring more than a year of nonstop abuse from pro Clinton and Republican establishment types. If anyone, I did, but I couldn't. I knew how dangerous the situation was. I knew people would experience a form of temporary insanity. Cognitive dissonance by itself isn't always dangerous. But if you combine with the illusion that some sort of Hitler had just become leader of the country, and that's what the anti-Trumpers believed, we had a risk of riots, violence, and a breakdown of our entire system. I wanted to gloat, but I am a patriot first. And the country needed some calm voices. I took my blog, Twitter, and Periscope to persuade Trump supporters to back away from the gloating that they too had earned. By this point, in the election saga, Trump supporters recognized me as a credible voice about politics. My reputation was reinforced by Trump's win. Suddenly, I had a problem to help solve. Normally turn up my persuasion powers to weapons grade, but I can't. That this time with the Republic in the balance, I felt I needed to. And so I picked one of the strongest persuasion tools, the high ground maneuver, described more fully in its own chapter later in the book. I used my social media platform to remind Trump supporters that they are patriots first, and their country needed them for the healing. I asked them to take punches from Clinton supporters and not fight back. I asked them to avoid gloating in public. I asked them to be the better people. I asked them to earn the leader they believed they elected. In other words, I took them to the high ground. Did my persuasion make any difference? There is no way to tell, but I was impressed at how well Trump supporters handled their win. For the most part, they didn't confront protesters. They didn't gloat nearly as much as I would have expected. They found the high ground, perhaps on their own, and simply enjoyed the show as the mainstream media tried to do brain surgery on itself to find out where the problem was. By election day, I had over 100,000 social media followers, and they tweeted and retweeted anything interesting I said. For a year, I had been one of them. Gaining their trust. When I was ready to lead, they were primed to follow. All the elements were in place for my persuasion to make a huge dent in the national consciousness, both directly and through my influence on other writers. Good ideas travel from person to person, and often they lose their connection to the source over time. It's nearly impossible to measure one person's persuasion in this sort of situation. All I know for sure is that I did my best. That's what my patriotism required. I'm glad it worked out. As I write this, the Trump is Hitler illusion is largely past. Nice job, Americans. And a hat tip to the founders who created this robust system. I continue to be astonished at our Constitution's power over minds, but I shouldn't be surprised given that master persuaders wrote it. How do I know the founders of America were master persuaders? You'll find out before the end of the book. My sidebar: if you saw Hamilton, that's what it reminds me of. Don't be surprised because I wrote it when they're singing about themselves. So that's the end of that part, and we'll come back tomorrow to read Spotting Tells for Cognitive Dissonance. That's on page 56 of Win Bigly by Scott Adams. You can also, I think, still get it on Audible. You could also listen to Scott Adams at 7 a.m. on the West Coast and 10 a.m. on the East Coast and 9 a.m. I believe probably in Chicago. My son is there, so that's yeah 9 a.m. Please like, subscribe, comment, and come back tomorrow.